Hi family, welcome back to ladensercrochets. If you're new to the channel, you're welcome. My name is Liz. Kindly subscribe and join the family. In this tutorial, we're making a backpack using t-shirt yarn. This is just part 1 of the backpack. As you can see, I'm here to attach the top zipper to the bag and also the lining. I'll be leaving a link in the description box for part 2 of the bag. Once you're done with part 1, you can click on the link for part 2 and complete the tutorial. We're going to need the following materials. T-shirt yarn, I use about 1000 grams, a 6.5 millimeter crochet hook. You can use between 5.5 to 6.5. Then you're going to need pins, D-rings. I actually did not use the rings, so you can go without them. Stitch markers, a sewing needle, and some thread. We're also going to need 2 zippers and a lining fabric. We'll start by working 2 pieces that are identical, and this is one of them. And these are the measurements of my 2 panels. The width is 12 inches and the length is going to be around 11.5. So I'm going to show you how to make another panel exactly like the previous one. We begin with a slip knot, and our starting chain is going to be 20. So start by chaining 20. I have my 20 chains ready and I'm ready to begin row 1. So I'm going to work in the loops that are at the back. Let me show you the loops. So these ones right here, that is where I'll be inserting my hook. And to start row 1, we chain 1 more, then we go into the 20th stitch that we did in that back loop and work a single crochet. Work a single crochet into the next back loop, like the loop that is in the middle of the 3 loops at the back. So now work into those loops 1 single crochet into each of the loops until we get a total of 20 single crochets at the end of row 1. I'm at the end of row 1 and I'm just placing my last single crochet into the last stitch. I'm at the end of row 1 with 20 single crochets, chain 1 and turn to begin row 2. We begin into the very first stitch with 1 single crochet. Then we're going to place a single crochet into the next stitch, that is a single crochet into the 3rd stitch, 1 single crochet into the 4th stitch, and we're going to place 1 single crochet into every stitch till we get to the end of row 2. Again, at the end of row 2, we should have 20 single crochets. Make sure that you're not too tight with your stitches. Also, do not be too loose. Make sure that your tension is medium, because when you're too tight, the bag is going to fold in, and when you're too loose, it's not going to have a good shape. So maintain your tension and make sure that it's a medium tension. Keep going with 1 single crochet into every stitch until you get to the end of row 2. I'm working my last single crochet into the very last stitch, and I'm done with row 2. Then we're going to chain 1 and turn to begin row 3, and we're going to work row 3 just like we've done with row 2. 1 single crochet into the first stitch, 1 single crochet into the second stitch, into the third, into the fourth, into the fifth, and into all the stitches across for a total of 20 single crochets. I'm at the end of row 3, and I'm just placing the last single crochet there, and we're done. So we're ready to begin row 4. Chain 1 and turn to begin row 4. Begin in the first stitch with 1 single crochet, then 1 single crochet into the next stitch, and we're just going to place 1 single crochet to the end, and we're going to repeat this particular row for a total of, let me get my other panel and confirm that. I'm just counting the rows to confirm how many I'll need, and that's going to be 17. So I'll work a total of 17 rows with 1 single crochet into every stitch, a total of 20 stitches in every row, and I'll meet you at the end. I'm done with the 17 rows, and this is what we have. We're going to work row 18 differently, and we're going to start with a reduction at the beginning and end with a reduction. Get stitch markers and mark the 17th row on both sides, then chain 1 and turn. You need to mark the other side too. I've not done that, but you should do that. Insert your hook into the first stitch and pull up a loop. Insert into the second and pull up a loop. Then pull through the 3 loops. So we've crocheted 2 together. 1 single crochet into the next stitch. 1 single crochet into the stitch that follows. Then we're going to crochet 1 single crochet into each of the other stitches until we have 2 remaining at the end, and then we're going to combine the 2 stitches at the end into 1, just like we've done at the beginning. So keep going. I have my 2 stitches at the end, so I'll combine them into 2, pull up a loop in the second last, then pull up a loop into the last, and pull through all the 3 loops. At the end of row 18, we have a total of 18 stitches. Chain 1 and turn, and begin in the very first stitch. Place a single crochet into the first stitch, and then 1 single crochet into all the other stitches. Row 19 has no reduction, so we're just going to place 1 single crochet into every stitch for a total of 18 single crochets. I have my last single crochet right there, and then we are ready to begin row 20. So chain 1 and turn, and we begin row 20 with a reduction. Insert the hook into the first stitch and pull up a loop. Insert into the second and pull up another loop. Yarn over, pull through all the 3 loops. Then we work 1 single crochet until we have 2 stitches remaining. I have the 2 stitches at the end, so I'll combine them, pull up a loop into the second last, pull up a loop into the last, yarn over and pull through all the 3 loops. Chain 1 and turn to begin row 21, and row 21 is going to have no reduction. 1 single crochet into the first stitch, then 1 single crochet into all the stitches. At the end of row 21, we're going to have 16 single crochets. I'm coming to the end of row 21 and I have the last stitch there. Chain 1 and turn to begin row 22, and we're going to begin row 22 with a reduction. We insert the hook into the first stitch and pull up a loop. Insert it into the second, pull up another loop, yarn over, pull through all the stitches, then continue with 1 single crochet into every stitch until you have 2 stitches remaining. Once we have the 2 stitches remaining, we'll combine them into one. So I'm just going into that last stitch to create the third loop. So, and then yarn over and pull through the 3 loops. Chain 1, and we are done with the rows. We have a total of 22 rows of single crochets. Next, we're going to work a single crochet border all the way around the stitches, the rows and the stitches, till we get to the top on the other side. And we just turn in our work like this. I've already chained 1. Go into the first row with a single crochet. Into the second row, we place a single crochet. Into the third row, we place another single crochet. And each of the rows is going to get 1 single crochet. Because we have a total of 22 rows, we should have a total of 22 single crochets on that edge. By the time we get to the bottom, we should have created the 22 single crochets. So make sure that you do not skip any row and you do not work any row more than once. Just 1 single crochet into every of the rows. So I'm just marking the 17th row right there, like I marked on the other side, and then I'll continue working the single crochets to the bottom part. So keep going. I'll meet you at the bottom so that I can show you what to do at that point. I'm in the last row, actually the second last, so I'll work my last single crochet into the very last row, and I have a total of 22 single crochets. So I'll turn to the other side, and into that same stitch I'll place 2 more single crochets so that we have a total of 3 single crochets in that corner. So I'm done with the 3 single crochets. Then I'll work 1 single crochet into each of the stitches at the bottom part of that panel. So 1 single crochet into every stitch. I'm in the last stitch now, and I'll place the last single crochet there. So I have that single crochet, then I'll work a total of 2 more single crochets into it to get 3, then turn to the other side on the edge and work 1 single crochet into every row till I get to the top. I'm working over this end just to weave it in, and then I'll place 1 single crochet into all the rows. When I get to the top, I'll show you what to do at that point. When we get to the stitch marker, we're just going to take it out and place a single crochet into that row. Then put the marker back in place and continue with 1 single crochet into the remaining rows. There are 5 rows, so that is 1, 2, 3, 4, and in the 5th one we're going to slip stitch onto that first stitch and then cut off the yarn. So get your pair of scissors and cut the yarn off. Then we're going to pull it through, and then we're going to weave it in on the wrong side of our panel. So just turn to the wrong side and weave in that end. So this is how I go about it. Just take it onto the inside and then pass it through the stitches. Make sure that it's passing through the middle of the stitches and weave it in until you're satisfied that it is well hidden. So that is what I'm doing right here, just hiding the end and making sure that it is secure. Once the end is well secured, we cut off the remaining piece of the end. So cut it off and we're done with this panel. And this is what we have. This is the right side of the panel. Make sure that you make 2 of these, and then after that we're going to create another piece, a third one that we're going to use to join the 2 pieces together in order to complete the bag. We start by counting the number of stitches between the 2 stitch markers. So just go on all the way around, count the number of stitches, and after I counted, I got a total of 57 rows, 57 stitches, and that means for the panel, the third panel that I'm going to work, it's going to have a total of 57 rows. We begin with a slip knot and then chain 6. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Then we're going to chain 1 more, then go into the 6th stitch in the back loops. So you're skipping the first loop and then going into the second one and working a single crochet right there. Then we're going to work a second single crochet, a third single crochet, a fourth single crochet, then we have 5 and 6. Then we're going to chain 1. I'm just fastening at that point. I'll chain 1 and turn to begin row 2. Again, row 2 will have 6 single crochets, 1 single crochet into the first stitch, 1 single crochet into the second stitch, 1 single crochet into the third, and into the fourth, into the fifth, and into the sixth. Then we're done with row 2. we chain 1 and turn to begin row 3, begin in the first stitch, place a single crochet, place a single crochet into the second stitch, into the third, into the fourth, then the fifth and the sixth. Chain 1 and turn and begin row 4. Now we're going to repeat these rows until we get 57 rows. So I'll keep going with 1 single crochet into every stitch for a total of 6 single crochets in every row, and I'll meet you once I have my 57 rows. I'm working my very last row, which is the 57th row, with the 6 single crochets, and right there I'm done with the 57 single crochets, and that panel is ready to be used in the joining of the 2 previous panels. So I'll just use this to join, but I'm not cutting off the yarn. I'll not join right now. I'll go on and work a pocket that I'm going to place on one side of the 2 big panels, and then after I'm done joining the pocket, that is when I'll use this third panel to join the 2 pieces. So let me show you how to do the pocket. Start with a slip knot, then chain 14. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have my 14 chains. Then we're going to chain 1 more, chain 1, and we're going to work in these loops at the back. So we're going to skip the first loop and then work in the second one. Do a single crochet, 1, 2. At the end of row 1 we should have 14 single crochets. I'm in the last one, so I'll place my last single crochet there, and this is what we have. Chain 1 and turn to begin row 2. Begin in the first stitch, place a single crochet right there, a single crochet into the next stitch, and 1 single crochet into every stitch to the end of row 2, and again we'll have a total of 14 single crochets. I'm at the end of row 2, just placing the last single crochet right there, then chain 1 and turn, and I'm going to work a total of 5 rows. So this is row 3, and each row is just going to get to have 14 single crochets, just 1 single crochet into every stitch. So let me work the 5 rows, and then after that I'll show you what to do next. I'm done with the 5 rows. So I'll get stitch markers, 2 of them, then I'll mark the beginning of row 5 and the end of row 5. So this side and the other side, like that. Then we're going to work row 6 with a reduction at the beginning and at the end. So chain 1 and turn, and we're going to crochet 2 stitches together at the beginning. So the first stitch, insert your hook into the first stitch and pull up a loop, insert the hook into the second stitch and pull up another loop to get 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through the 3 loops. Then the next stitch will get 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet next, and we're going to work 1 single crochet until we have 2 stitches remaining. I have the 2 stitches, this one and the last one, so we're going to crochet those 2 together to convert them into 1 stitch. Pull up a loop, then insert the hook, pull up another loop, yarn over, pull through the 3 loops, chain 1 and turn to begin row 7. At the end of row 6 we have 12 single crochets. Row 7 is going to be a row of 1 single crochet into every stitch, beginning from the first single crochet and place 1 single crochet into every stitch. No reduction in row 7, so just 1 single crochet to the end. Chain 1 at the end and turn to begin row 8. Row 8 is going to have a reduction at the beginning and at the end, so insert your hook into the first stitch and pull up a loop, into the second, pull up another loop, yarn over, pull through the 3. Then 1 single crochet till you have 2 stitches remaining. I have my 2 stitches at the end. These are actually 3. Yeah. So into the last 2 stitches, that one and the last one, we reduce, chain 1 and turn to begin row 9. Row 9 is going to be a row with no reduction. We're going to have a total of 10 stitches, so that's 1, 2, 3, then we have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. Chain 1 and turn to begin row 10. Row 10 is going to be a reduction row. Beginning in the first stitch, we crochet those 2 together, the first 2 stitches, then 1 single crochet until we have 2 stitches remaining. Then combine these 2 into 1, and we have a total of 8 single crochets at the end of row 10. We are done with that pocket. So what we're going to do is work some edging all the way around. Chain 1, and we're going to work on the rows. So we have 10 rows, and that means from here till we get to the corner we should work 10 single crochets. So in the first row we have 1 single crochet, then the second one is in the second row, then we have 3, 4, 5, 6 is right there where we marked. So remove this stitch marker and place a single crochet into that row. That's 6, and continue marking that stitch. Put the stitch marker back to that stitch. Then we're going to have 7, 8, 9 and 10. Then in this last stitch we're going to place 2 more single crochets for a total of 3. Now instead of working here, I'm going to work right here, and I'm going to place 2 single crochets, 1 and 2. Now this point and this point, that's the same stitch, so we have 3 stitches in that corner. Then we're going to work 1 single crochet into each of the stitches till we get to the next corner. So we're going to have so that's my last stitch at the corner, and into that corner we're going to work 2 more single crochets. So that's in the last row. Instead of working the single crochet, I'm going to slip stitch into that last stitch. Do your slip stitch and cut off the yarn, then pull it through. Don't be too tight with your stitches to avoid your pocket curling in like mine. I think I've done very tight stitches, but it's going to work out. So now, after cutting off the yarn, I'll just turn to the wrong side and I'll weave in that end. So we have that pocket ready, and now it's going to go on top of the bag like that, like this. So you just want to position it right there. But before I attach it, I think I'm going to attach the zipper right here, and the zipper will move from this stitch all the way around to the stitch before the stitch marker. So I have the thread and the sewing needle. I'll put a knot at the end, so I'll just get the zipper, and I'm going to start with on this side. So you want to place it right there. So this is the stitch where we are starting, but I want to start below so that we can have it a little bit hidden. So I'll start in that stitch, this stitch right there. So now I'll just go on attach until I get to this other stitch marker. I have the zipper in place, so at the end I'll just make a knot and cut off the thread. So let me just do the last stitch. Make a knot from the inside of the bag. And cut the thread. So this is what we have now. Once we're done with the zipper, we're going to get the yarn and the hook and turn the pocket like this, and we're going to start at the stitch above the stitch marker, and we're going to work in the back loop. So instead of working into this stitch, we're going to work into this single loop at the back. We connect the yarn there and chain one, go back into that stitch with a single crochet. We don't need the stitch marker anymore, so I'll just pull it out. Then I'll go into this stitch, next stitch, and work a single crochet. And as I do that, I'm going to work over that end, and I'm just going to go all the way around till I get to the stitch above the other stitch marker. So I'm going to work a single crochet into every stitch till I get to this stitch above this second stitch marker. Working back loops only. So you should fold in like this. To get to the stitch marker, you don't need it anymore, so the stitch after the stitch marker, that's where we stop. Single crochet, and then chain one, leave a long end that we're going to use to attach this pocket to the bag, and cut off the yarn, then pull it through. So this is what we have now. we get one of the panels of the bag and hold it such that we have the right side up, then get the pocket and bring it onto that piece. We're going to place it on top, and I'm just going to count 10 rows from the top. So this is 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. So from here, from this row right here, and counting 3 stitches from the edge, 1, 2, and 3. This is the third. I'll insert my hook into that third stitch from the inside part and pull this yarn through, all the way through to the other side, so that it goes onto the inside like that. Then I'll insert my hook on that first stitch, and then I'll go into the next row. Make sure that you're on 1, 2, the third stitch, and pull up the loop from the inside. Let me show you how we're going to do that. So you insert your hook into the first stitch, go into this row, then you pull this yarn from the wrong side and pull it all the way through, and that's a slip stitch. Then we get into the second stitch and to the row that follows, and make sure that you have 3 stitches. It's on the third stitch from the edge, 1, 2, and 3. Then slip stitch, pull the loop through, all the way through, and slip stitch. Then we go into the third stitch and the next row on the third stitch, then do a slip stitch, the next row, one, two, three. This is where I go, and slip stitch. Then the next stitch onto this row, we are counting 1, 2, and 3. Then the next stitch and count 1, 2, and 3. Then we're going to turn to this side. This is the next stitch, and this goes right here. Sorry. Into the third stitch on the next row. Then we're going to work along that row till we get to the corner, and then we work going up. For this stitch, onto the next stitch. I cut the yarn too short, so I'm just going to reconnect. I'm going to reconnect some more yarn. Right now I'm at the corner stitch, and this goes right here. Then now I'll work going up till I get to the last stitch. So the next stitch onto the next row, and make sure you're on the third stitch. That is 1, 2, 1, 2, and 3, just like we've done on the other side. That's the last slip stitch into the last stitch. Then we're going to pull the loop, pull up, and cut the yarn. Then we're going to take this yarn to the wrong side. And on this side, I'm going to hide the yarn inside the stitches. Just weave it in. I'll get pins and pin the zipper right there. After pinning the zipper in place, I'm just going to use the sewing needle and I'll attach the zipper from this corner, and I'll go all the way round to the other corner. I have the zipper in place. I went on to do that off camera. So now let's do the connection. complete the bag now. We're going to get the second piece of the bag, and we're going to have them like this. So you have the right side, the wrong sides facing each other like this. Then we're going to get this piece and we'll connect it right here. So it's going to move from these stitch markers to the second stitch marker. Now I need to do that on one of the pieces, so let me get this and this. We start from the stitch marker, so I'll insert my hook into that stitch where the stitch marker is and pull it out. Then I'll go onto, there should be a chain 1 here at the end, so chain 1. Then we go into that stitch and the first row and put the loop through, then pull it through like that. Then we're going to go into the next stitch and the second row, and then just pull the yarn through all the way to the top and slip stitch. Go into the third row, the third stitch and the third row, and then grab the loop and pull it through, then slip stitch. The fourth stitch, the fourth row, slip stitch, and then I'm going to work all the way around. This is what we're going to get after we are done attaching one of the big panels with the third panel that's connecting the two panels. And now we're going to get the second one and connect it on top, and make sure that you're doing that from the right side of the panel. So you need to align your work like this, and we're going to begin at the stitch where the stitch marker is. So now grab the yarn and the hook, and you're going to connect it at that point. Take the stitch marker out, put the hook into that stitch, and then we're going to insert the hook into the very first row on our third panel. And at that point we're going to get the yarn and start with a slip knot. We need to make a slip knot before we can connect the yarn. Make the slip knot and pull it through. So just pull that loop through. And that's going to be our first slip stitch. Go into the second stitch and onto the second row and slip stitch. Then we're going to go into the third stitch and the third row and slip stitch, and then we're going to work all the way around just like we've worked with the other panel. So I'm going to speed up this process and meet you at the end. I'm done joining that second panel, and this is what we have. This is the inside of the bag. That's the upper part, and this is the side where we're going to have the straps. Then we're going to work on the top, and then we'll attach a zip at the top. Then we'll do the lining and the straps on this side. This video has gotten too long, and therefore I'll stop here with the part 1. Then I'll come back with part 2 where I'll show you how to do the zipper, the straps, and the lining. See you in the next video. I'll leave a link in the description box once I upload part 2.